Hello, followers. This is our first live stream. So let's wait a few minutes. Let's wait for some followers to connect. So this is the first live stream we are doing. I hope you enjoyed all the content we post in our social media. We are here also to answer to your questions. We have many questions to be answered right now. So let's begin in 4 minutes. Let's wait 4 more minutes for more followers to connect and to answer to your doubts. These last 2 weeks, we were talking about knowledge. So, of course, this live stream is about knowledge. In this live stream, we are going to find out what knowledge is and different ways to use it according to the new philosophy in which we are working on. Philosophy is going through a lot of changes right now because of the develop of pre-concern method. The pre-concern method allows us to understand how the universe works, what are the universal principles, the universal laws which applies to all phenomena in the universe and of course in human beings. So let us understand what human beings really are and all the potential we have as human beings. Let's wait 3 more minutes to begin. At the time it was scheduled. We are about to begin in 2 minutes. All right, 1 more minute to begin. Yes, 1 more minute. These live streams are really important because we're going to complete all the information has been given along the last 2 weeks about knowledge. All right, we are on time, so we're going to begin to speak about knowledge. Now, there are different levels of knowledge. Of course, the knowledge is measured about the level of truth that is within that knowledge. So, of course, the truth is measured also in different levels because we have, for instance, scientific laws, which are truth, but those scientific laws are just applied um, in specific phenomena. Let's say laws of physics, they can only be reproduced in physics. Laws of chemistry are only reproduced in chemistry, and so on. But in the universe, there are also universal laws which are replicated in all phenomena of the universe, physics, chemistry, and so on. So, of course, these levels of truth can be measured in accordance with those laws. So, if we are going to the bottom of the rule, we are going to see that opinions is a level of knowledge. If you have an opinion, that is a knowledge you have. But opinions are not based on universal truth nor in scientific truth. They are just opinions. They are based on what you think, what you believe. So opinions, those opinions allow us to have ideas. Ideas are another level of knowledge. Those ideas allows you to have hypotheses about something. So this hypothesis lets you to do some research and to have some theories. So all of these levels, opinions, ideas, hypotheses, theories, are not truth as a whole. You need to argument those knowledge, those levels of knowledge. And of course, if you are based on laws, if you are based on principles, then this knowledge might be truth. If in these levels of knowledge there are no laws or principles, nor scientific or universal, then this knowledge is not truth. And knowledge based in untruth or in the lie is unhealthy. So this is the first thing we have to understand. Knowledge have different levels. We have the opinions in the at the bottom of that rule. We have universal laws as the most important level of knowledge we have now. Knowledge go through 4 different stages before we can apply the knowledge in all the dimensions we have. First, the knowledge, we comprehend the knowledge. We because of what we see, because of what we touch, because of what we feel, we acquire some knowledge, we acquire some information. So we have to comprehend that information. We have to process that information, and this is where we comes to the second stage, which is the way you assimilate that information. So, according to the way you assimilate that information, you are going to understand what you're seeing, what you're touching, what you're feeling, and this assimilation, you have to repeat that what you understand about what you lived, about what you feel, you have to repeat that information one and again, so you can be sure that you are acquiring that information. And the last stage is reproduction. You have to reproduce that information so you can assimilate deeply that information. This is the way in which we can learn new things. We first comprehend. If you don't comprehend what you're seeing, what you are being taught, then you can assimilate it. So you first comprehend the information, then you assimilate the information. You have to repeat the information, and finally, you reproduce that information. So when you reproduce the information, you are um, you are doing in a pragmatic way. You are doing practice what you have been taught, what you have learned. So these are the stages for information to be learned, and of course be part of your knowledge. Now, um, there is something very popular these days that people says that truth is relative. Is relative. This is something that is nonsense, because this comes from a theory, the relativity law of Albert Einstein, but that is something really different, or really have no connection with what people are trying to say about that, the relativity of the truth. So the truth can't be relative. Truth have different levels, and truth have different dimensions. It's different. For instance, for example, if a person, the truth as all values can be measured in different systems. Let's say an individual, a society, humanity, and nature. So truth can be reproduced differently in all of those levels. So we have an individual truth that is something. If a person, let's say, have an empirical knowledge and say something, it is truth that he has said so. He's saying that is truth that he has said that, but not necessarily is a social truth or universal truth. If that information that this person is saying is not based on principles or laws, then it's not necessarily a social or human or universal truth. So uh, why is important to understand this? Because if one person have a feeling, it's not a lie that that person have a feeling. So we can understand that the truth can be measured in different stages and in different dimensions. We can have individual truth, but not necessarily because that person had that feeling means that I need to have that feeling as well. If he sees something, maybe he can feel something about what he's seeing, but if I see the same thing, maybe I won't have the same feeling. So it's important to understand that the truth is not relative. It's just different in different stages or different levels. So this leads us to wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is the most elevated level of truth, or, no, or the most elevated level of knowledge. I mean, so when a person based his knowledge on the universal principles and laws, or scientific principles and laws, he he based his knowledge in what we can call wisdom, because that person can answer anything. He can answer all the questions, all the questions that anybody can have about that specific topic, and he can answer based on that. Let's say, for example, let's say that I know about thermodynamics. I know the laws of thermodynamics. Because I know about that, because I understand that law, I can answer questions of anything that is based on that law. Let's say electronics, or let's say our fridge, let's say the sun, let's say anything that is based on the laws of thermodynamics. I can understand about that. So I can have questions, so people can ask me questions, millions or thousands of questions of different things. But because all those things are based on the same principle and on the same law, I can answer to them. And people might think that I'm a wise person, but the truth is that I just know about a principle, so or a law. So if you understand about universal principles and laws, which are reproduced in all the phenomena of the universe, you can understand everything. Of course, human relationship as well. So that's the important thing about understanding principles and laws, and to base all your knowledge on that, so you can become a wise person. Now, when a person has an ideology, ideology are not necessarily good or bad, but if these ideologies are based on fakeness, are based on lies, then those are destructive. The lie is destructive. The truth is promotes conservation. So when a person has have an ideology, normally the person doesn't care about the argument, or what it is based on. Um, it doesn't care if that ideology is based on a lie or a fakeness, because people don't understand about truth, don't understand. Nowadays people don't understand about what are principles and laws. So these ideologies normally are not looking for intelligence, are not looking for wisdom. So a leader in a specific ideology can say anything, can be also something stupid, and that will be welcomed by his followers, because ideology is not looking for the truth, or looking for having the right. People love to have the right, not to have the truth. When I have an argument with somebody, I'm always say that I don't want to have the right. I don't want to be right. I just want to have the truth. I don't want to say that I am right or you are right. I just want to understand the truth about what we are arguing about. So this is really important to understand, and I think that this information can complete everything we have post or broadcast along the last 2 weeks, and I hope you enjoy it. This video will be posted in our YouTube channel, so anybody can see it. You can share it with your friends, with your family. This is the first philosophical channel trying to integrate humanity with universal principles and laws, with nature, and based on the truth. So we are open to all your questions. Watch this video, share it with your family and your friends, and hope to see you soon. Bye.